niggas been after me. Y'all favorite came after me. My fans up and them bands up, bring my fam up. The mentality. These niggas be faking. The mentality. These niggas be hating. The mentality.
Shout out to the homies for having the top comments on the last video. If you'd like to be featured on one of my upcoming videos, make sure you leave a comment down below, drop a thumbs up on the video, and just have some engaging conversation down in the comment section. I love to hear your conversation. I love to see what you all are talking about, and I like to bring up just great Mobile Legends topics. So yeah, that's how you get featured. Shout out to you all, homies. Great job. Moving on, I do want to say before we get into it, there's always a debate. There's no worst hero, there's no best hero. Once again, we said it in the last video, we used a Fanny as an example compared to a Layla as an example. Obviously, Fanny would destroy Layla, and that makes Layla a worse hero and Fanny a better hero. So when we do these type of videos, we basically like to separate it from player skill. Let's imagine that every player is just 100% a god with the hero that they're using. Which hero is then better? So obviously there are some better heroes and there are some worse heroes, but getting into it, man, I want to jump right into it because I think that this is going to cause an amazing conversation, because when I do the worst heroes, there's always someone these are their favorite heroes, so they would disagree. And the crazy part about this is the number 5 hero is actually my old favorite hero, so I know the feeling. But I mean, I'm just a realist, man. I have to be realistic with it. So coming in number 5, I have to go with Layla, man. Layla is just really not a very good hero in the current meta, and the reason she doesn't fit too well in this meta is because of her lack of mobility. She can't escape, she can't move around fast, and compared to all the other ADC has something that makes them more valuable than Layla. Let's take Mia for instance. She can turn invisible. Mascarf, he has a stun that can knock people away. Everyone has some type of ability that can kind of save them. Carry, she can dive away. Bruno, he can dodge. Literally, if you can go through every other ADC and they all just have some type of escape, they have some type of escape or some way of stunning the other person. Or you got Yi Sun-Shin, who can freaking farm super fast and destroy everybody on the map with his global ultimate. There's just something that sets everyone apart except for Layla. Now, don't get me wrong, when I say the worst heroes in Mobile Legends, that does not mean bad heroes in Mobile Legends, and that's a distinction that everyone needs to understand. Layla is not by any means bad whatsoever. She's actually one of the strongest ADC in Mobile Legends, but it doesn't matter how strong you are. If you get slapped in the face before you have the opportunity to get strong, you're just pretty much a bad hero. You're pretty much useless if you can't get to the point where you're strong, and that's the thing with Layla. Everyone has a lot of mobility. Everyone's going to be targeting the ADC, especially Layla, because she's an easy kill most of the time, so she gets targeted a lot. So that's one of the reasons that Layla isn't one of the best picks in the current meta, because she just doesn't have an escape. But moving on to the next one here, this is actually a tricky case. We're gonna have 2 heroes here because I really couldn't decide who deserved the number 4 spot. So coming in at number 4, we have Alucard and Sun. Now I couldn't decide between these two who was worse. I feel like everyone else in the fighter category, they bring a lot to the table. They really have a lot to offer, and Sun in certain situations has a lot to offer. So when I was thinking about Sun, because he seems to be the most useless, but there are a few situations where he makes sense. There's a few situations where he works really well, like countering Zaz. He's really a headache for Zaz because obviously Zaz's turret can't decide who he hits. So if you have a bunch of clones to hit at, obviously the real Sun can be destroying Zaz while this is going on. And also there's a few other heroes that have these techniques, like Franco. He can counter Franco because you never know which one to grab and stuff like that, and you can have your clone surrounding your team. So basically a clone is going to get grabbed at any moment there. So Sun has his uses. He comes in handy sometimes. So I don't know if he's more valuable than Alucard, because you take it over to Alucard, he doesn't really have much going for him outside of the crazy damage he can do and the lifesteal that he has if there's no crowd control to go against him. The problem is there's so much crowd control in the meta, and the meta is pretty long range. Think of Cyclops. Cyclops, he has that long range, he has stuns, he has imprisonments and stuff like that. Then you have someone like Kagura. She has a pretty long range as well. All the ADCs have long range. Let's see who else, like Freya. Freya has to get in close, but she has a stun. She can jump on him and stun him. Hylos, same thing. He has the stun. It's pretty much everyone in the game can counter Alucard, so it's very hard to find the right team comp where Alucard just works because of the fact that it's the mage meta, it's the stun meta, it's a meta that's built for Alucard to fail right now. So yeah, obviously you can still have crazy and amazing games with him. So like I said with Layla, neither one of these two heroes are just, well, Sun might actually be bad. I think his only use might be countering a few heroes because of how annoying he can be. I don't know, Sun, I'm leaning more towards Sun being the worst. These two heroes, they're tricky. So yeah, that was number 4. Moving into number 3, I had to go with Minotaur. The reason I go with Minotaur for number 3 is because he's not he's one of the worst, but he's not the worst. And the reason I had to go with him is because the other tanks have stuns. The other tank has something that's really just unique to them. Now obviously he can bounce people up in the air and stuff like that. He can heal a little bit, so he does have a good amount of sustainability. But because of the meta that we're in, you need a tank like Johnson, or you need a tank like Hylo, somebody with some stuns, somebody like Akai who can push people out of the way and stuff like that. And even Akai isn't that powerful in this meta, honestly. Akai has really been toned down a lot because yeah, you can try to stun people, you can try to hit somebody with your ability, then jump on them, but it's just too inconsistent. Like, who's going to stand there after somebody gets marked? They're going to bag up away from you. That's the difference between a Hylos and a Johnson. Like, you never see their stun coming. Akai, his stun is so easy to read that it rarely ever works. So yeah, Akai is even questionable right now, but he still brings more than Minotaur. I feel like there's just certain heroes. There's one hero, the hero that's actually going to be coming next, just has no tankiness whatsoever. So the one thing that Minotaur has in this meta is that he has some type of tankiness to him. So that kind of saves him from being just completely useless. But there's so many other great tanks that's just so much better than Minotaur that I think that he has to be one of the worst in the game. But that leads us into number 2, which has to be Franco. Now, Franco is such a bad tank that honestly, I don't even consider him a tank whatsoever. The problem with Franco is that he brings very little to a game. Him being tanky, it has a contingency. It's contingent on him landing hooks. Like, if you think about every other tank in the game, they can take a lot of damage. They can take crazy damage. First off, Franco cannot take crazy damage like most of the other tanks. He's kind of squishy compared to the other tanks. And also, when it comes to the other tanks, they're just good at all times. At all times, Tigreal can just go in and harass the enemy team. Hylos can at all times use his stun and harass the enemy team. Akai, at all times, he can go in and harass the enemy team. Every single tank in the game, except for Franco, can go in and harass the enemy team. Franco is the only tank that has to stand around and hope that he lands a hook, and if he does not land a hook, he's just completely useless the entire game. That's the problem with Franco. I don't think that Franco is a tank whatsoever. I think that he could be a good initiator. He could be a good fighter because he's not as strong as a tank. I think that he is more of a fighter and he can bring something, but I wouldn't rely on Franco being the only tank, and that makes him one of the worst heroes in the game, honestly, because he just does not bring too much. So I had to put him second because he's worse than Minotaur, honestly. He's definitely worse with Minotaur. That's the difference. Minotaur at all times, he's pretty tanky. Minotaur can heal himself. Minotaur can basically, he has some type of crowd control. He can shake the ground and kind of bounce people up for a little bit. That kind of catches him off guard, that quick little stun. But Franco, he doesn't really have that. I mean, if you catch him with your ultimate, then yeah, that's a little something, but at the same time, he'll just get mowed down way too quickly, and it really, like, his usefulness 100% depends on if you're landing hooks. Now, if he's just landing hooks and never missing hooks all game, he's going to be an amazingly big threat, but that's rarely happens because it's so easy to predict his movements. Like, when Franco stops moving, you know more than likely a hook is going to come. It's not hard to stay behind a minion. Like, once you've played against Franco a few times, it's pretty much easy to counter him from that point on, and that's why the other tanks are just so much better when it comes to choosing a tank to play. Last but not least, coming in at number 1, there's no surprise about this one, we have Cylon. Now, if you've been watching my videos for a while, if you've been on the channel, you knew that this was coming. You knew for a fact that this was coming. I had to put him at number 1 because he's the worst hero in Mobile Legends history. Not just in Mobile Legends right now. Mobile Legends, I can't lie like that. He wasn't always the worst. Before they put all these heroes with crowd control in, he was actually one of the best heroes in the game. He used to be one of my favorite heroes to play, But the thing is, the meta shifted, and one of the problems is that the matchmaking, when it comes to actually playing Mobile Legends, people did not shift with the meta. People still don't understand the meta. There's still so much people don't understand, and that's why people are still using Cylon, and it really just kills win rates, man. Literally, I played with Cylon probably, what, 200 times on stream. I've came across like 2 good Cylon players. Out of 200, we came across like 2 good Cylon players, and that's the thing about him. The thing is, he only works in certain situations. Like, the conditions has to be very, very specific for Cylon to be a good pick, and those conditions aren't met very often. There's much better picks than Cylon. If you're going to pick a fighter or an assassin, there's a much better fighter, there's a much better assassin. If you want to go with a fighter, Ruby is better. Freaking Alpha's better. Roger's better. Literally everyone else is better. If you want to go with an assassin, obviously you have Lancelot, Gazin. You have so many great assassins, and those are two of the strongest assassins in the game. So I feel like there's just Cylon, there's really no place for him right now. He has a little bit of mobility. He can take down towers really quickly, but he's not that valuable in a team fight. He's really good at countering Fanny, but at the same time, you don't see too many just crazy Fannies either. But yeah, man, once again, all these heroes have their uses. None of these heroes are just bad heroes except for Cylon. None of these heroes are bad heroes outside of Cylon. Everyone has their uses. Everyone is good at something. Seriously, everyone's good at something. Like I said, Cylon can counter Fanny and stuff like that, but these heroes just don't fit too well in the meta right now. But the great part is we have Selena coming, we have Uranus coming, we have Hanabi coming. We have so many great new heroes coming that the meta is going to change very, very soon. I feel that there's going to be a change in the meta coming soon. So yeah, I just want to make this video. Let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. I definitely want to know your thoughts and who you all think are the worst heroes in the game. Does your list match mine or not? Let me see in the comment section down below. Drop a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, family. Peace out, yo.
Don't you go getting married, don't you go getting engaged. I know you're getting older, don't have no time to waste. I shouldn't be much longer, but you shouldn't have to wait. Can't lose you, can't help it, I'm so sorry, I'm so selfish. I've been chillin' in the city when the money's so high and the girls get down.